Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining this session. I hope you've been enjoying Think. My name is Nihal Yanmaz, and I'm leading the Hypercloud Build team across IBM's Middle East and Africa region. Today in this session, we will be talking about how IBM helps technology companies build their own technology solutions together with two valuable guests. But before we start, I'd like to mention that we intend to keep the session interactive as much as the time allows. So please go ahead and use the chat area if you have any questions. We will do our best to address them. So joining me today is Abdo Gadmour, Build Service and Partner Recruitment Business Lead in IBM Middle East and Africa. Numan Qureshi, Technology Partner Architect Leader, IBM Middle East and Africa. Pravin Bura, CEO of Analytics Engine. And Yasir Ilyas, Global Head at Hysab Kytab. We have many things to cover in 30 minutes, so let's get started. Abdo, hi, thank you for joining. Maybe we can kick off the session with you. So I want to start by asking, how do you see the build partners market in terms of the opportunity and the growth? What have been your observations in the last few years? I know you were in this role for a few years now, and how do you think the market is going to look like in the next few years? So where it was and where it's going. And secondly, I would say second part of my question is about IBM. How is the IBM partner ecosystem strategy transforming to keep up with this change and support the partners in this space? And maybe you could start with explaining what we mean by build partners in IBM.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Nihal. So a build partner, in essence, is any organization building a solution, a product that is embedding IBM technology. And they'll look at, doing this to accelerate time to market, reduce the development costs, as well as driving values for their clients. And these organizations could be anybody from startups to ISVs, or even organizations developing digitally enabled products, such as real estate companies, healthcare companies. So when you look at, the past 100 years in terms of, the way a vendor would actually make the products, and then, you've got either the sales of these products, either via resellers or sales teams, into, various enterprises and clients for their internal use. There has been a common, understanding now that the strategy of a vendor makes and the resellers are selling is no longer the case. The clients are demanding more business outcomes, and there's much more of a solutions-oriented approach to go to market, which is an immense opportunity for build partners across all types. Now, when you look at that particular area, this also presents complexities, and the complexities in terms of there's a common understanding across the industry now that's not everybody can make everything, right? And partnering well has become a source, if I may say, a source of competitive advantage. And you would see the rise of the ecosystem. And what we've seen over the past few years are those organizations who are working together in an ecosystem format. We've seen revenues increase of up to 14%. And those who have started to develop their own solutions, the profitability, the bottom line is really increasing up to 69%. And, in the next, just answering the second part of your question there, the way we see this moving forward into the future, especially now digital transformation across Middle East and Africa is roughly a $38 billion market. What's really interesting is the rise of digital business innovation. So this is where, the creation of these products, such as the transfer in the industry from a sick care system to a welfare system in the healthcare industry, bringing in the patient in the center of care. If you look at the automobile industry, the shift from vehicle production to mobility as a service, as well as looking at the experience of the overall car as well. So there's going to be a shift towards digital business innovation. And this is going to be accelerated as well with Industry 4.0, which makes it really, really interesting. And this is really the combination of, the digital, the physical, and the biological coming together. And technologicals, advancements such as quantum computing, edge, Internet of Everything, as well as hybrid cloud and AI. and couple this with trends such as the circular and shared economy. So we're going to see this for a long time to come in terms of, this shift from we make, you sell to co-creation and co-sell and collaboration within the industry. Now, how is IBM looking at this? So in January, we announced our new go-to-market strategy, which is really about putting the partners in the center of our strategy and our growth strategy, and their client success. So we've invested over $1 billion in our ecosystem, supporting our partners. We've unified the go-to-market strategy as well, to support all partners. And we've simplified and increased the number of resources from technical, sales, and enablement to support partners to be successful, as well as their clients to be successful. Now, we do this in three main motions. So first is the build for builders who are building on top of IBM technology. The second area is the service type of partners who are utilizing technology to provide outsourcing, hosting, and integration. And the third area is the sell, which are selling technology as is to enterprises. Now, if I could hone in the build part of the business, which is one of the businesses I manage for Middle East and Africa. So at the core, what we believe in as a team is really challenging that status quo with our build partners. And driving, innovation that matters. And, we've had the opportunity to work with large organizations and small organizations, right from startup size fees and multinational organizations in terms of delivering impact, changing citizens' lives, as well as bringing in new innovative products into various industries. Just today, I was speaking to an organization who was looking at providing water for all in Africa. That's the kind of projects which really kind of interests us. But our aim within this particular business is to become a long-term partnership. This is not about, engagement and then moving on. Our mission is really to develop a co-creation and co-success type of mission. And we measure value in three main areas. First, it's the build with IBM, where our technical partner architects, which Noman will discuss shortly, and our hybrid cloud build team with Nihal, is really working with our build partners to support them empower and differentiate their products from a business context by embedding open hybrid cloud and AI. Now, what's so beautiful about the hybrid cloud build team is part of this $1 billion investment is that, we're supporting organizations to also develop, MVP lights as well as skilling to really accelerate their time to market. And we've got funds in place, such as the cloud engagement funds, to really help organizations such as yourself accelerate that. Now, the second thing is we focus on is the embedded solutions agreement, which is a fit for purpose vehicle for our build partners, allowing them to embed IBM technology and drive profitability as well as client value. And then the third area in our long-term partnership, it's really about sell with IBM. So how can we monetize and work together to realize the synergies or the economies of each of these organizations to sell more, right? And this includes creating joint go-to-market strategies, working with our tech brokers to identify downstream resellers, as well as our marketing team to drive growth funds. So in all, that's really, it's a real pleasure, to be leading this, as you mentioned, for the past few years. It's exciting times. I'm on my feet speaking to many different organizations, and it's an absolute pleasure to be, working with such innovators that are challenging the status quo. Thanks, Neil.
Thank you, Abdul. Thanks for your insights. I know it was a short pitch, but this will set the scene for today's session, and we will build from here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Built with IBM. Could you please share the scope and the details with our audience here? What does it mean for them? What are the ways that IBM provides technical support? And maybe we could start with what the technical architect do. Could you take the lead on that?
Yeah, as Abdul described, the Partner ecosystem is an integral component of IBM's go-to-market strategy, and the build motion is at the very center of our strategy. With IBM's deep focus in this area, I'm extremely passionate about being a part of this organization. But more importantly, I believe it is an excellent avenue for our partners to join us and grow with us. I'm based in Dubai, and I'm leading a team of highly experienced technology architects across the region who possess, thought leadership, deep expertise, deep technical skills in multiple facets of information technology across many different industries. So from data to business automation, integration to application modernization, infrastructure, storage to cloud, IT management to IT automation, observability to security, and anything required in between to accelerate the digital transformation strategy, we have deep technical skills available to work with our partners. Since we are dedicated to working with our partners, hence why we are called Technology Partner Architects, or TPAs. Now, the question comes that what do we do as TPAs? So we work in tandem with our partners as their trusted technology advisor in every engagement, from start till the end. We help our partners shape, design, and refine innovative solutions that can scale on demand to meet the current and incremental requirements of their end clients, accelerate the delivery of strategic business objectives, and ultimately impact the bottom line. Hence, the question comes that, how do we do that? And as Abdul mentioned, the build workshop, right? So build for us in the TPA world is a very dynamic and a multi-phased engagement model. But the good thing is that it's rapid. Throughout the build engagement, we as TPAs perform many different activities with our partners, from solution review, solutions qualification, existing solutions assessment, evaluation, discovery, and many other activities. But out of all these activities, the build workshop is the most significant value add in my view. Because in here, we go much beyond the norms of a typical technical discussion to understand the business of our partners. And once we have established that understanding and the common alignment between us and our partners, it allows us to leverage the innovative IBM technology capabilities to define a technical strategy roadmap that empowers our partner to drive continuous success and growth, acquire new customers, expand footprint, land into new industries and markets, and continue the growth. As we conclude the build workshop, one of the usual next steps is to engage the hybrid cloud build team, which Nihal leads across the region. Now, before I hand it off to Nihal to describe the rich capabilities and the magical capabilities that her team brings to this equation, I would like to take a moment to reiterate, if you need help developing innovative, first-of-a-kind technology solution, please reach out to us. We would welcome the opportunity to work with you in shaping the future. So join us. Let's do it together. Thanks, Nihal.
Awesome. Thank you, Numan, for your insights. And maybe at this point, as you mentioned, I could take a few minutes to talk about hybrid cloud build team. As Abdul and Numan mentioned, we are here as IBM in general to support our build partners at every stage of their journey, different stages. This could be from marketing to building and many other actions. And hybrid cloud build team comes into play at the technical stage. So we are a team that was formed in February this year with the mission to guide build partners through cloud migration, modernization, and transformation, while leveraging the power of and the flexibility of hybrid cloud platform and infusing AI. So I know that's a long sentence, but let me just try to go into details a bit. Our team consists of cloud architects, cloud native developers, data scientists, and security engineers who can work with the build partners to co-create your technology solutions. And working with Numan's team, the technology partner architects, we help build partners define their architecture based on the solution they are trying to achieve, help them scale for new technologies in terms of the need to build or migrate solutions, leveraging these new technologies, and then ultimately work together to co-create that solution by supporting the actual building, the development phase. This could be from a POC perspective or even an MVP level. So our support comes in different shapes and forms. It can be anything from a discovery workshop that Numan mentioned, where we discuss everything and agree on a way going forward. It could be hands-on labs or whiteboarding sessions, or as I said, migration and development support. And I'd like to definitely recognize we are aware that all partner solutions are different, and the in-house skills could be at different levels, and there are many other factors that make each solution unique. So the type of support needed is different, and we acknowledge that, and our team will work with every partner on their specific need and customize each of these steps I mentioned for that specific partner. So before I finish, I would like to also mention that this support for the build partners is completely free of charge. So definitely we are looking forward to support our partners as needed. So that's a recap from my side, but now let's turn to our guests for the day. Pravin, first of all, thank you very much for joining the session. We appreciate your time and helping us convey our message from a partner's perspective. And I was thinking maybe we could start off with your company. Could you please tell us about Analytics Engine's vision and products?
Thank you, Nihal. So at Analytics Engine, our purpose is to help companies to use their data to make better decisions. I like to think of us as the glue that connects the data of a business to the front end so that they can make better decisions in practice. I previously headed bank analytics at a large audit firm for over 10 years. And it doesn't matter how much preparation you do, someone will at the last minute ask you a difficult question. In a COVID world, who's going to be a good customer? Who should we approve for loans? Are our capital and impairments good enough? How do we improve portfolio risk? And these are good questions, but when you ask it at the last minute, a whole bunch of data and analytics people scramble, work till the middle of the night, try and quickly do these calculations, prepare some insights, and report it. We've all been there. And it's on one of those late nights that it finally occurred to me that with the right engine, with the right design, a lot of those problems could be answered in minutes rather than months, because that's how long it normally takes. And so Analytics Engine was born with the goal to try and take decision-making from months to minutes using the data that companies already have. Really excited by our latest solution. We've built a credit scorecard engine using IBM technology. Banks need to approve customers for loans. They either want to improve the quality of their book or they want to gain market share. And what we've done using IBM technology is we've built a scorecard engine that builds a new credit scorecard in minutes. Now, that is amazing. And what's nice about it is we're doing it in a zero code environment using a web interface. So any clever person at a bank can learn how to build a credit scorecard. You take your data, in a few minutes, you can test a hypothesis. And why does this matter? It matters for two reasons. You can now very quickly try different strategies. You can build a different scorecard for a micro segment of your population. You can test those new data sources that we keep hearing about all the time. And because we're building a scorecard in minutes, over the course of a few days, you can try different scorecards, different strategies, and then you can see what's going to give you lift. So for us, really excited about where this is going and really grateful for the technology that we can manage to lay our hands on.
Awesome. Thank you, Pravin. Thanks for explaining. And this is, I think, a great example of a build partner that was described earlier by Abdo and Numan, where you're leveraging technology to build new business models, competitive products, and innovation to your customers. Thank you. My next question to you would be, you've been working with IBM for a while now. So if I may ask you to share with the audience, why did you choose to work with IBM and how has IBM helped you achieve your objectives? And maybe how was your experience overall?
Sure. So let's start with why we chose IBM. So previously I headed bank analytics at a large bank and I'd worked with IBM. And for me, what's very important is the governance-led approach to IT and to technology, because in financial services, if you don't start with governance, your solution is not going to be sustainable. So that for me was very important. But what I love about the current cloud solution is the mixture of accelerations and open source, accelerators and open source. So if we look at accelerators, we've got Cloud Pak for Data, we've got Watson with all its AI capabilities, which helps you accelerate your design. But if you really want to do something out the box, like we were aiming, you've also got the full access to open source. So you can code in Python and you can combine that with some of Watson's capabilities, for example. So you've got the best of both worlds. Accelerator kits, which you don't have to worry about maintaining, etc., because IBM's done that for you, and the best of open source. And you can combine the two in a well-governed environment. So for us, that was really, really important. From a build perspective, I must be honest, I was pleasantly surprised. So being a relatively small company at a global level, we wanted to build, as I said, aiming for near real-time analytics. And we wanted to try a whole bunch of different strategies to make the analytics faster and more valuable. And I remember one of the things that we were thinking about very early in our journey was slightly out the box. And so I reached out to the local build team, Stephanie Lang and her team, and I said, we want to try this. We think it'll give us lots of competitive advantage in our solution, but it's unusual. Will it work? And so they asked us to describe an experiment which would validate our thinking, which we spoke to them about. And then we arrived at the meeting expecting a whole bunch of more questions. And when we got there, the architects and the engineers from IBM had, instead of having more questions from us, they'd already executed the experiment. They already had the answer and they could tell us what of our thinking would work and what wouldn't work. I mean, I was sold from that point, right? That was very proactive. And again, as I said, I would not have expected them to go to that effort for a company of our size. So really pleased. And finally, the last thing I'd have to say is so yes, we had all that technological help, etc. But we are a number crunching business, right? We data scientists. So we knew to build. And what for me was really useful was the advice about how to build, how to navigate IBM, and very importantly, how to eventually take our product to market. And for that, I'd like to really acknowledge Mohammad Maran and Pavel's, which unrelated, parallel with the technology, but also about how we go to market and how we think about our own business. So for me, that was almost like mentoring at a higher level. So for me, if I were to summarize, I'd say IBM has great tech, but even greater people. And it's that combination that I think that I enjoy working with.
Awesome. Much, Praveen. Yes, we keep saying we are committed, but to hear from it's a great appreciation. Thank you so much. And we hope to continue our collaboration and take it to new heights going forward, hopefully. Thank you very much for joining today. I'd like to address similar questions to you I asked to Praveen. Could you maybe start by telling us a bit about yourself, your company, I mean, and Hysab Kytab's vision and products?
Sure. So to begin with, an interesting fact is that I started my career with IBM in New York. So, I worked for IBM for 5 years, then went to, many different routes and ended up in a startup, which is Hysab Kytab. So Hysab Kytab is basically a personal financial management solution provider. And a purpose that we have defined for ourselves is innovating to improve lives. And how we do that is through the financial management that we offer. So far, we have been very successful in executing what we are trying to do. We have been downloaded in 160 plus countries. We have a user base of around 5.5 million users. So, our journey started with a consumer application that is available in Google's Play and App Store that anyone can download. And then we learned the user experience from there to translate our solution into a white label solution for the banks. And coincidentally, our focus for this year and for the next year is going to be Middle East and Africa. I was there at Seamless last week. We had a lot of good traction with the banks in the Middle East. So one of the things that just for the audience to understand, why do the banks need a solution like PFM is because we think that banks have the knowledge about their customer based on the data that they have about those customers in the bank. So, we call it a 240-degree view, which is not a complete view of 360-degree view. So, the customer lives outside the bank as well. The customer is interacting with other people. The customer is taking money out of the ATM, spending money somewhere. So bank has no information about it. So a PFM solution basically integrates with the bank solution, and they're able to understand the context of their customer so that they can target the customer with much more tailored and targeted offers. So on a high level, this is who we are, and we have been gaining a lot of good traction within the Middle East and African markets.
Awesome. You have exciting products in a really fast-growing domain. So again, the similar question, why and how did you choose IBM? And again, similarly, I'd appreciate if you could also talk about your experience in working with us in your journey.
So, when Pravin was basically answering this question, I was nodding my head, I think, like the most time, because I experienced the same thing to begin with. One of the things that I must say from the startup perspective is that speed is everything for us, right? And we need to focus on the core and leave the context to technology companies like IBM, who are investing so much into those areas. So it will be foolish on me to basically do something, recreate something that a company like IBM, which is a trusted company, has done already. So, a smart move by any startup would be to integrate, utilize the things that have already been done and do things that have not been done. That's what we are doing, right? So I'm doing the financial management, but I'm utilizing the different developments that IBM has already done. So I'll share with you my journey with IBM in the context of Hysab Kytab. So we thought, like, because we are operating in 160 plus countries, and majority of those countries are the countries where the central bank have not allowed open banking. So there are transactions that happens through cash, and people have to manually enter those transactions, right? So we thought, like, with all these advancements, a good user experience would be for a customer not to enter something manually, rather do something else. So the only option which was left, an idea that came out in a mind, was that can we allow the user to have some kind of interface where the user speaks with the application and says something to the application and hears something, which is much more easier, you can do on the go. So while looking around and internally discussing if we are going to do something, we basically looked at IBM Watson as well, and there was a solution which was already ready there, and for us to utilize it. So first we thought, as Pravin is saying, we're not a technology giant. We are so far we have good traction, but still we are a startup, right? So we reached out to IBM and said, like, would you like to partner with us for helping us with this area? This is a vision, and we want to work with you. So the vision was ours, the technology was from IBM. So I think, like, this is a common message to all the startups, that you can have the vision. The execution does not need you to recreate it. You can go out to for example, IBM, and get different technologies. And from the experience perspective, I must say that I kept asking my team how things are going. So one aspect that I think everything that Pravin said, I endorse it. And one thing that I would go beyond that is the knowledge transfer. So, one of the things that has happened during this course of integrating a solution with IBM Watson is that my team learned a lot about different, for example, auto AI. They looked into it, they learned it. They also did SPSS modeling, they learned it. They learned how to use the Watson assistant, right? So for them, they were able to recreate the whole thing themselves. So they were able to create the chatbot themselves. So, while you're working with IBM, you're also getting a lot of knowledge transfer, which is, you could say, like, for us. And the whole experience, the whole thing has been for free. So we haven't spent a dime on that. And the turnaround time from IBM team was amazing. Like, my team tells me that their responses to the queries and everything was very very quick. So I must say, like, for me and Pravin to be here on this call, it's a testimonial already.
Thank you so much, Praveen. I think you could see me and Numan and Abdo smiling as you both were speaking, because we are so happy that our work, shows on the other side, and it's great to hear these comments. Thank you so much for being here and sharing with the rest of the audience. And Yasir, again, thank you. We are committed to supporting you where and when needed in your journey. Thank you so much. So I know we're 2 minutes over. That brings us to the end of the session. I'd like to thank everybody again, and I'm hoping the content was helpful to our attendees. So if you're a technology company and you're looking for new ways to leverage technology to better serve your customers, please reach out to us. We will definitely be there to help you, and we're looking forward. Thank you so much, and enjoy the next session. Yes.
Sorry, just one more thing that I would add to your basically things is that right after this call, Praveen and I are having a call of our own. So one of the things that IBM helped us was to connect. So Praveen and I will be working on joint offering. So, that's another value add.
Great, thank you. This is great. Such an amazing example of collaboration. Amazing. Thank you so much, and thank you everybody for being here. Thanks for your time.